Hi everybody, welcome back to the channel. My name's Andrew, and today is day 7 of TryHackme's Advent of Cyber, where today we'll be going over AWS and detecting malicious behavior. So huge shout out to Tyler Ransby on his great walkthrough video. If you've not gotten to watch that, definitely do. It will help you out in this challenge if you get stuck on anything. But as always, TryHackme does a great job at providing all the documentation you're going to need to be successful. So let's go ahead and get started. So as we continue on with our story, it appears that Care for Wares is trying to make it their stock tradition to gift the wares some books. As they go through and they start grabbing out these books and putting it in their shopping cart, as they go to pay, the clerk tells them that their card was declined. So this puts them into a flurry and worry. And so we think there could have been an attack or maybe an intrusion that occurred that possibly has now affected the Care for Wares group, not allowing them to pay for their books. So with today's challenge, we're going to be going into AWS environment and specifically using CloudWatch and CloudTrail to kind of go through some of these logs to see if we can find the information that it's asking us to find. So once again, if you've never been or never heard of or never gotten to play with anything within AWS, this is going to be a great walkthrough, and it's actually going to provide you all the searches and queries you need to get into to be successful to find all your flags today. So to include our intro to right now, what is JQ? JCLU is similar to command lines such as a sed, awk, or grep. So it's going to kind of find us something in particular with maybe a file or JSON that we're looking for, specifically used on JSON. So let's start off. So the first thing we're going to be doing is we're going to be creating a nano text file if you want to. And we're going to be using this kind of as a quick little example, which they're going to provide to us. So you can simply be on your desktop. We're going to type out ls, so listing all of our directories here. And we can see I've already created my bookstore.json. So, but if you've not done that yet, you can quickly go into Nano and type in how you want to create that new file you're going to make. I'm just going to go back into my Nano bookstore that I've already made. And you'll be grabbing this example right here and then copying that into your Nano file. So quickly and easily, you can go over here, copy this over. And then, fun fact, to go into Nano, you're going to be doing Shift-Control-V, and that will be pasting it into your JSON. So now that that's done, we're going to now show kind of what the JQ function can do. Oh, I still have my other copy pasta. So here we go. So we're going to throw that in there. Now, I need to change my JSON file because I did not just do book_list. I did bookstore.json. So as we do this, you can now see that we're now seeing all of our titles and the book title, the genre, and the page count in a nice, somewhat filtered file, right? Now, as we go through the challenge today, it's going to give us some additional ways to use JQ. So like such an example of, let's say we want to see it, but we just want to see the book titles. So we can simply go into our quote here. We're going to space out, and we're going to do a pipe. And we're going to type in book_titles. And now we can see all of our titles. So on and so forth. As we kind of go down this, now we can maybe look up specifically, we want to look up maybe the genre or maybe the page count. We would simply just go right here. We change out our book title. And then let's say we want to see the genre. And then there's our genre. So now, this is a great example of kind of just showing you how that JQ function works, of how we're kind of specifically grabbing that one piece of information out of our JSON file. So now that we have a brief walkthrough of how that's going to be important, which you'll see here down the road, and why it's amazing that they provided us all the queries to copy and pasta over to prevent error, we're going to go ahead and get more into the challenges for today. So the glitch did it. Let's examine this CloudTrail log related to the Wareville Care Force S3 bucket. For a quick example, a typical S3 log looks like this. And then this is them just giving us an example of what that's going to look like. So we have an event version, we have our type, principal ID, access key, the username. Looks like we can see the AWS region, the source IP address, the host. Let's see if there's anything else in here that we kind of really want to see or maybe point out to. Requester IDs, the type, and then it kind of goes into more and stuff of like now describing all the fields that we were just talking about up there: user agent, source IP address, event name, and so forth. So So first off, in order for us to get more in now to our terminal to review our whereville logs, we need to get into that directory. So if we remember our ls command, we can see that we see our whereville logs right there. We're going to do a cd change directory into whereville logs. So if you want to do a autocomplete, you can type in WAR and hit the tab button, and then that will get you into your where logs. Now, a good example of like, oh, I can cat out the JSON and we can start to go through it, right? I would strongly not recommend it, because as soon as you do that, you're going to see a lot of data that is just there. So that is where JQ is going to start playing a huge part into the investigation today. So let's clear this real fast so we can make our screen nice and pretty. So now let's start the investigation that CloudTrail logs by executing the command below. So you can type this over if you want those reps and hitting fingers to keys. However, for speed purposes, I'm just going to be copying pasta over this information to kind of show you guys what this data is going to be looking like. So here we go. We just dropped that in. And so let's get to the top of this real fast so we can see what we're seeing. All right, so we have our username glitch. Looks like they're doing a few IAM user list objects. IAM user, username glitch. Interesting, we see an event name of a put object, so it looks like they maybe put something there. And then we do an awesome breakdown here of the command too. So if you're like me, and rather than just running through these and actually like just copying pasta over, like the great thing I like about TryHackme's platform here is they can also break down these commands so you know what you're just, rather than just running off a playbook or grabbing things and just throwing it in and then getting to read through the data, which is great. And it's going to break through to you what this command are doing. So we see in the command here that the R flag tells us JQ to output the results in a raw format instead of JSON. Note that the filter section is enclosed with single quotes. The last part of the command accepts the input file in the CloudTrail log.json. Records, in the records field is the top element that JSON format CloudTrail log is looking for. And then we see the select event source is using the previous command output, and the filters on the event source and request parameters and bucket name keys, the value of the s3amazon.com, and then used to filter events related to the Amazon AWS S3 service. So why is that important? As we see these command outputs, we want to know how to trim down these results so we can kind of refine our investigation, right? So now let's refine this output by selecting significant fields to execute the following command below. Now, here's where I said that if you're really hunky-dory and like retyping things out and you want that practice, by all means, if you know these commands off the top of your head and you can type those in, great. Always proofread and check for error. But TryHackme, and if you've never worked inside AWS, this is where this comes into play and it can be helpful. Maybe you're really good at log analysis and you understand what you're looking for and reading for, but you just don't understand the correct prompt or kind of command language to put in, or what you're looking for to, oh no, there we go. Hit the F12 button. Oops. But you don't know the right commands, everything to get in. So TryHackme is going to provide us everything we need to refine these searches. And then by putting those in and then still running these, we now still get to see our output in the data that you maybe as an analyst need to see to review to understand what we're looking for. So here's we're moving down the pipeline. We see that there is a command output and we trim this down. So now what are we looking at? So the piped filter uses the previous command output and formats it only to include the defined keys, such as the event time, event name, and user identity or the username. So we see that all of these names, other than our NA here, or Whereville Care for Wares, it looks like it is the glitch. So that's concerning. I thought the glitch was trying to help out and save Christmas. So that's kind of odd. So could it be that his account got compromised? Is it possible that maybe someone else was able to get in and alter and change their appearance to make it seem like he was conducting this type of behavior? Well, we probably need to do a little more digging to figure this out. So now let's see, we're going to specifically try to focus this, and we're going to upgrade the command a little bit, and we're simply just going to command this out and to provide an additional column. And we're going to do that by clicking onto this copy pasta, dropping that in, hitting this command. And then here we see list objects, put object, glitch, 5394. There's the source IP we're seeing. Now, keep in mind, I've got to scroll down to show you questions and answers because I don't want to just give away all my answers just by showing you the screen. But if we're going back to some of the questions it was asking, I'm pretty sure it asked us for some different event names that may have been going on. So this seems like a pretty good one to memorize. So I'd maybe look into that and then also pop up to the top to see when this stuff was occurring. So let's keep scrolling down to see what we can figure out. So our crafted command lets us summarize some S3 activities from our CloudTrail log. And now that we've crafted our JQ query to provide a well-refined output, let's look at the results and observe the events. So how many logs and queries are related to the Wareville Carrefours bucket? Here's some questions you can be looking at to kind of see if any of this stuff kind of adds up to what you're looking for. So as you can see, we see 5. So there's 5 down here below. The logs seem to be related to the Wareville Carrefours bucket. Almost all of them related to the user glitch, aside from the listing of the object inside the bucket, this object event. The most notable detail is that the user glitch uploaded a file Wareville bank account qr.png on November 28th, which seems to coincide with the information we received from no donations being made 2 days after the link was sent out. McSkitty is sure that there was no user glitch in the system before. There's no one in the city that has that name either, and the only person McSkitty knows with the name is a hacker who keeps to himself. McSkitty suggests that we look into this anonymous user. So here we're going to continue on and diving deeper into our logs. So because everything is hidden within the logs, and within the logs we will find our answer. So the results show that the glitch mostly targeted the S3 bucket. Notable event on the console login entry, which tells us the account was used to access the AWS Management Console using a browser. So we're seeing AWSAmazon.com, signinamazon.com, console login, get cost and usage, all still username of the glitch. And we're still seeing a source IP of 53.94.201.69. So we still need some information from what tool in the OS that was used for this request. So let's take a peek. And now for this one, let's see if we can view the user agent value. Get rid of that tilde, Control A to the beginning of my copy paste here so I can erase that. Ooh, a Mac. Ugh, definitely a bad guy. So definitely a Windows fan over here compared to Mac. Nothing on it. If you use a Mac, good for you. But so as we can see, though, it looks like we're seeing a Mac, and it's hard to see. And I wonder if I can change this view and zoom out. There we go. Still kind of makes it small, so that's why I kind of have it zoomed in a little bit more. But we still see the glitch, and we see a Macintosh Intel MacBook or a Mac OS system as maybe the type of machine he was using rather than Windows. So it's good to know. So now we at least have an idea of what user agent that person had. So now let's see. I think we're going to try to zoom in a little bit more on our events. So yeah, related events. Event source, I am Amazon AWS.com. So we go back into here. We're going to pull into our post here. So we see McSkitty. That's odd. That's in the middle. Man. Okay. Anyway, so we see McSkitty's username still coming from 5394-20169. We're seeing the I am Amazon AWS.com. We see an attached user action policy, attached user policy, allegedly done by McSkitty at this 5394 address. So let's see. Let's see if we can now kind of go into a smaller, deeper dive to our attached user policy action. So let's have a more detailed look at the event related to the create user. So we see McSkitty on the top alert right here. We now see the event name of create user, username glitch. We then see our next command here being with the glitch. Interesting. Based on the request parameters of the output, it can be seen that the user McSkitty is who created the anonymous account. So now we need to know what permissions that anonymous account user was given. So as we continue down, we're simply now going to use our next JQ search here for attached user policies, what we're going to be searching for. And let's see. So we have, here's the start of our query. So we have McSkitty. We now have our glitch, and it looks like he gave them policy administrator access. So our glitch account has full administrator access, which can be bad news bears because obviously that gives that account full admin access within the AWS environment. So now let's keep going down this rabbit hole, right? As the TryHackme tells us, logs don't lie. It's always in the PCAP, always in logs. Based on the command output, there's 3 user accounts now that we've seen, and we're about to. Now let's dive into this next one that will answer some questions. So, Mayor malware. So we now see we have our 3 user accounts, McSkitty, glitch, and Mayor malware. So as we're accessed from the same IP address, the next step is to check each user and see if they've always worked from that IP address. So if we go down this IP address list right now, all we're seeing, and at least from the top one here, is so Mayor malware has this 53.94.201.69. We then now look at the glitch, and they also have a 201.69. Well, that's kind of odd. Hey, look, let's see what McSkitty's is. It's also 201.69. So do we know if that's truly everyone's IP address, or maybe there's something that could be masking that? Let's go into a few more queries to see if our logs tell us anything useful. Yes, perfect. Remember I told you earlier in the video, I'll give you some fun and friendly tips so you too don't get confused on running a command from the our TryHackme playbook here that just doesn't provide you anything. So while you're looking for your placeholder and your username, if you're just going to come and pull over the script here with our TryHackme walkthrough, you need to change out our placeholder with our username. So let's go ahead and try. We'll go in order. Mayor malware. See if I can put the name in the correct place. I want to say you have to put it in within the parentheses. There we go. Mayor malware. So it looks like Mayor malware has a Macintosh, has that Mac. And it looks like we see an IP address coming from 53.94.201.69. Now let's go up here. Now we're going to go and view. Let's go and view McSkitty. So McSkitty. Now we see, it looks like we see 2 addresses coming from McSkitty, but we see a Chrome. We see this Chrome address. And then a Mozilla. Still Macintosh, Apple. So we see the 5394, but then we also see another address over here of console login for 31.210.1579. Now for our last but not least, let's look up the glitch. All right. So with the glitch, it looks like we are gathering information for each user. We can focus our investigation on the following questions. So the instance starts with the anonymous login with the user account McSkitty from 5394200169. Shortly after that login, an anonymous user account glitch was created. The glitch user account was assigned administrator permissions. We saw that already. And the glitch user account then accessed the S3 bucket named Wareville Care for Wares and replaced the Wareville bank account QR code file with a new one. The new IP address and user agent used to log in to the glitch, McSkitty, and Mayor malware accounts were the same. The user agent string and source IP of the recurring logins by the user account, McSkitty, are different. So we now need to kind of define some more evidence, maybe just to show maybe specifically where we're seeing that information. So, and another thing we're going to be looking for is our bank account number that was changed into the account. So that's what this last piece is going to do for us. We're going to go ahead here. We're already within our where logs. We're going to grep that. And we still see our good old Mayor malware. So we see info, Wareville bank transitions, account numbers. So, and just so you know, because this took me a second to find it. So the account numbers it's looking for is right here after values. It's here in this bracketed spot right here, right before Mayor malware. So that's the information you're looking for when it comes to the bank account information missing. So with that, that's going to get us down to our questions. So let's kind of go down with these and kind of see. So what was the other activity made by the user glitch aside from the list object actions? So if we go back to our logs and we'll kind of go in order, kind of show you guys this. Or it's not going to let me go any higher up. So let's go through our questions here. So in what was the other activity made by the user glitch aside from the list object actions? So in the beginning of our challenge here, we saw some list objects, but then within those list objects, we also saw our put object. So that's how we found that in our first query. So as we move down our question list here, which go in order from our questions, we now saw our next question was what was the source IP related to the S3 bucket activities of the user glitch? So if you remember when we did that second query up here looking for that activity right here, we saw that IP address spawning from our glitch information. So we'll see if I can replicate it real quick. Right here. Yep. 5394200169. So, and here's our put object. So right there. So scrolling back down. Okay, next, based on the event source field, what AWS service generates the console login event? So in order for us to find this one, we had to go back up to our console login events, which I want to say is going to be this query right here. If I can copy it correctly. There we go. And we'll see our Amazon console login events, or maybe I wouldn't go high enough. Okay, here we go. So it's going to be this query right here on our McSkitty fooled us, where we're going to see that next console login, the notable event and the console login entry. So if we go back down here to our question, it was asking us, based on the event source field, what AWS service generates the console login events? So console login was sign on Amazon, AWS.com. we see our next question, which when did the anonymous user trigger the console login event? So we see that our time is right here that it was asking for. 2024, TAC 11, 28, 15, 21, 45 Zulu. And then if we remember continuously as we go down this process, which is what we just ran all our queries for and going through the logs, we see that the name that was the user created by the McSkitty user was glitch. What type of access was assigned to the anonymous user? We pointed that out, that they created that user and gave them administrator access. The next thing that we were able to find was which IP did the Mayor malware typically use to log into AWS. So, and if you remember how we determined that, is we had to look up our IP address for those specific users, which was right here, the source IP that the requests were made from, right here. Remember that that was the same IP as our anonymous glitch user. So let's just replicate that real fast so we can make sure that information is good. There's our McSkitty info. Logs don't lie. Okay, that's where we had to do our username lookup specifically for Mayor malware. That's where that's actually asking us for. So if you recall, that is where we pulled in from this one right here for our specific username. And our placeholder is going to go Mayor malware. There we go. And excellent. And last but not least, we had to look up from what McSkitty's actual IP was, which was vice versa, just switching that around and doing our McSkitty lookin. And then what was the bank account number owned by Mayor malware? We had to go and do our last grep grab on the RDS logs within our file, which is right here, which I pointed out that the numbers you're looking for on this one's particularly is after that values. It's right here within that bracketed sign right before Mayor malware. So definitely a fun room today. Once again, if you're not familiar with AWS or not in it long enough, totally justifiable and understandable if you're going through your log today or following along with Tyler on his amazing video. But yeah, as log analysis goes, once you're able to understand why and what these logs are going to show you, I think it's pretty user friendly to actually go through and then go through these questions and honestly just scroll up and rematch kind of what these particular questions are asking for. And you should be able to find them within the logs if you follow the guide. So yeah, I'd say on this room for a challenge level, I'd definitely say probably 8 out of 10 if you're not used to AWS. But like I said, using the walkthrough challenges were extremely fun and enjoyable, and I definitely had a fun time. So thanks so much if you stuck around this long. Like, subscribe. Make sure you're still doing these rooms and checking out the next challenges for the next day. Tons of cool swag and prizes that TryHackme is giving out for the advent of cyber. And I will see you guys on day 8. Keep hacking.